You are listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank, your partner in possible.
Welcome, everybody, to the Border War podcast on the Kansas City Sports Network, presented by 360 Vodka. My name is Jarrett Sutton. I'm joined, as always, by Jeff Hawkins, who's fresh off a trip to Columbia and fresh off a 2 a.m. tip time, which I've never heard of. So, Jeff, please tell our viewers what took place in your season with Pembroke Hill.
I mean, it was fun. My kids got to go down to the arena anytime you can go into any college arena, and that's actually a great arena. But anytime that you can go into a college arena, bring your team and be able to play in that arena, I think it's an amazing experience. So our guys were geeked up for it. It was just a little bit weird because our game time, our tip off was 2 a.m. So we ate, we got to Columbia, we ate, we went out to Applebee's, ate, got back. They had a little free time. They had nap time between 8 p.m. and 11. And then we got them moving around, and then we hit the bus 12 a.m. to head to the arena. So, and then we tipped off at 2 a.m. But I mean, what such a cool experience. And, it was broadcasted locally as well too. And just for them to get that experience of feeling like they're actually in a college atmosphere in a game, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's got to be great. I mean, I'm having flashbacks to like high school. Just taking like a road trip was great, but to play in an actual college basketball game is pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's a good experience. So
I got treated well there too, man. I got treated well.
Yeah, no, and you guys played well. So I know. I mean, you might have to be scheduling some 2 a.m.
I know, I got to, man. No.
You're ahead of the game here. Is what we're.
I like it. I love it.
Well, we got a lot to cover here with Mizzou. Yeah, we're going to start with just a wild win from Mizzou against UCF. Frank was open. I jokingly said Mizzou actually they've won an Orange Bowl now, since I didn't realize that this is called the Orange Bowl Classic. So a really good win. We're looking ahead to Braggin Rights too. So we will dip into the Braggin Rights matchup, which is next, and there's some huge games ahead for Mizzou. And that's where we really want to start, is just you talk about great win, a really good reset win for Missouri after getting smacked by Kansas on their own floor and having a week to prepare. Mm-hmm. They go to UCF, neutral site game, not a lot of people in the gym, very much a create your own energy type of game, if you will.
Yeah.
Missouri was down 10-0 to start this game, just spotted UCF 10 points. And find a way to win 68-66 on a buzzer beater from DeAndre Golston. And you look at, Missouri, there's a lot of things to really, be excited about in terms of improvement. Number one, they held UCF to 66. And look, UCF is not a bad team. They got a kid, Taylor Hendricks, who's pretty good, who they held to 11 points. And he usually is around 17 to 18 points a game. You look at the other big players for UCF. They had three guys that really carried UCF as well in scoring. Yeah. But Mizzou's defense was better, and I thought a lot of the things that they did defensively were all adjustments off of really getting their doors blown off by Kansas. I think it was a great experience for them to go through that, because now you've gone up against a championship caliber team.
Yeah.
And you can you have that experience under your belt now, and you adjust to it, and they're able to get a win. And Missouri's had some clutch wins too. The Wichita State win comes to mind, being down in the final 4-minute period, forcing overtime. And then in this game, Demoy Hodge makes an unbelievable play to falling to the floor, getting a ball to DeAndre Golston so he can get it off and get the shot off before the horn sounds, before the red light hits. And Missouri gets a massive win.
And I mean, again, after the KU game, and we talked about it, they want to know how are you gonna respond to that? And big eyes are gonna be on Coach Gates, trying to figure out, how's he gonna respond to, this adversity that the Tigers are facing right now, and they did. And I think that's, again, man, I really think this is a really great team. And again, we talked about it, even the KU game, it didn't feel like what it was. Just you guys just didn't do some things that you guys normally do off night. So it's good to see that you guys got back on track. And I think that's one of the biggest things, like, to me, that shows me that shows that you guys got toughness. And I think when you can find a team that has toughness, like, you can already see that the team has toughness, which is a direct reflection of the coach. So, people were wanting to see how Coach Gates was going to respond to that. Well, he responded, and he responded in good fashion. And again, that's just nothing. That just goes to show how they corral and they support their coach.
No question. I do want to hit on Nick Honor, who had 17 points and had 15 of that in the first half. Threes to pace Missouri and keep them afloat in the first half when they really got off to a slow start. The reason why they were in the game is Nick Honor's threes really in the first half shot it so well. Missouri then was able to pick up where they left off and get a lead in the second half, to which they gave up. And, there's still some concerns with them in terms of turning the ball over. You got to take care of the ball. You can't turn it over. They had 15 turnovers. Now, they did force 15 turnovers on the other end. So, again, it speaks to their defense playing better. That helps when you are forcing turnovers yourself and playing a little bit better defensively. Missouri had 15 assists in this game, so the ball movement was a lot better. They got to the free throw line, but they hit 13 threes. They shot 52% from three. And that's a big reason why, they win this game. UCF hit 13 threes. So, UCF made some shots. It was a very balanced game. Like, if you look at the box score of this game and a 68-66 final, I mean, these two teams were battling. It's a quad 2 win for Missouri, so it's a solid win for them in a neutral site game. But I think, we've said this, Jeff, I feel like every time when we look at a Mizzou game, win or lose, they win a game, and Kobe Brown had 9 and 5. He played 26 minutes. He was okay. He was solid. Noah Carter had 6 points and played 20 minutes and, wasn't on the floor there late a lot of times. Isaiah Mosley played 10 minutes. It was good to see him play 10 minutes, had 4 assists right when he got in the game. But they played 9 guys, and Isaiah Mosley had the least amount of minutes of that crew. So you look, Aiden Shaw played 3 minutes. We're not even talking about Aiden Shaw. So the point being made here is I still don't know what the rotations are. I guess from a player standpoint, I've kind of tried to wrap my brain around it. What would it be like if you're playing 23 minutes one night and 2, because Aiden Shaw played a lot of minutes against Kansas. And look, this is not a knock on Coach Gates by any means. It's his team. He's going to press the right buttons in the game. But I'm very curious. I don't know what to expect against Illinois. I don't know what to expect against Kentucky, because you just don't know what you're going to go off of with some of these lineups sometimes.
You know what? And I don't know. When Coach Self kind of got in, it was weird. Like, Coach Williams always had his core 7. He stuck with him, or core 8, and he stuck with him throughout the whole season. Like, no matter what, he stuck with you unless the guy got injured. Like, you knew your minutes. And when Coach Self came, it was just a difference. It was, man, if you're not playing good this week, and he is, man, come on, let's play. Hey, we're playing you. And I know right now Coach Gates is still probably trying to figure that perfect balance, because he has so many guys that can score and produce. And I think he still might be trying to figure out that rotation as well too. But again, if I'm a player, it's just like, dude, like, you better bring it. Like, I better bring it. Like, at the end of the day, especially when a coach is trying to find his rotation, like, that's when you better be lasered in and focused, because this is an opportunity right now to be in that rotation. So I think, Coach Gates is still, trying to figure out that rotation. And some will say, hey, but we're getting into conference play. Here it comes. Some coaches don't. Sometimes it might take just a little bit longer just to get that rotation. But when you can still be looking for your rotation and still be able to come out and win, I think I think a lot of coaches will still take that rather than the opposite way of trying to find a rotation and not having success and not winning.
I think if you look at their most consistent player right now, that's been consistent, that you can go to him every game, it's Demoy Hodge.
Yeah.
He's playing so well. He is a prototypical 3-and-D player.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Gates has talked about this before, that he was recruited to Florida State before he went to Cleveland State. So this guy, when he transferred to Mizzou, I think there was this thought, well, he came from Cleveland State. Well, it's very clear he can play.
Yeah.
He can shoot it. He's unselfish. He is a tough on-ball defender. And if there's one guy that's going to be on the floor at the end of the game, it's Demoy Hodge. And I also think Nick Honor has probably earned all his. He played 34 minutes and was max in terms of minutes. Now the shot making was big time. That's a big reason. But I also think he's very, very poised as a point guard. He didn't necessarily play that well against Kansas, but for the most part, he's been pretty consistent all year in terms of taking care of the ball, making shots, making good decisions, playing a pick and roll, and really just trying to do his job of being a point guard, but also being a guy that can shoot the ball and score it. So those two guys have really carried Missouri. I thought DeAndre Golston has been a little bit up and down, but he can play. He can play too. I mean,
what a confidence booster too, though.
Absolutely. You make a shot like that, that might get you going a little bit. And again, he's a physical, very much a broad shoulder defender, physical versatility defensively, strong. But he's a good shooter. I wouldn't say he shot it to the level he's capable of, and he shot it pretty well in the UCF game. So you hope, like you said, that there's some confidence there where he might be able to get going and maybe shoot a little bit better too. Because the one thing about Missouri, they shoot the ball pretty well.
They do.
The game numbers show that they can shoot the ball. Now, shot selection was so much better in this UCF game, which I thought was a problem in the Kansas game, is you just can't jack shots against a good team. You can't just take shot after shot against a good defensive team. And now we flip the page and we transition to Illinois and Braggin Rights. That's up for Missouri. And this is another big rivalry game. It's much different than Kansas. It's not the same. It's different.
Hey, can you break down the difference for me, man?
Yeah. The difference being it's always neutral site. So, and it's around the holidays. It's the line in the building it's half orange and half black on the other side. So it's a neutral site game that is both fan bases on top of you. And that's it's so different. It's like there's roaring throughout the entire game. The cheerleaders have this deal that they have a competition during a media timeout that's always been there since dating back to when Quinn coached and Norm coached. I mean, there's a lot of these little things that are part of this rivalry. And the history of the rivalry is kind of interesting, of just when when I was growing up watching Quinn's team with Kareem and Paulding and Trayvon, they had some tough losses to Illinois. Illinois went on like a really long streak with Dimitri McCamey and some guys that they won a lot of games. And then when we got there, we lost our freshman year. And then we went on like a 6-year winning streak, maybe 5-year winning streak. So it's very streaky. And Lonzo Martin actually won some games against Illinois, some big games against Illinois when Missouri was ranked 10th in the country after beating Illinois. The reason why I say that is you kind of throw the records out the door sometimes in these games. I mean, being in the games, we
That's
always
right there.
Down to the wire, last possession, back and forth, where it didn't matter if you had a lead early in the first half or a deficit. It was always a game. And so I'm curious what takes place in this game. Illinois is a very, very good team. Brad Underwood has done a fantastic job since being at Illinois. Illinois is a very tough job. They're 8-3. I would say their two biggest wins are UCLA and Texas. They've beaten two very good teams. I just got a chance to see UCLA a couple of times last week at Maryland and against Kentucky. And that, the fact that Illinois has put this roster together with Terrence Shannon, who's a transfer from Texas Tech, 18 point per game scorer, has played really well. He's played to the level we always thought Terrence Shannon could play at. Texas Tech was a little bit of a up and down situation. He was hurt a lot last year, not the same player. He's fully healthy. He's played, we've talked about Jalen Wilson a lot, Jeff, of just how good he's been as a returner. Terrence Shannon's been really good as a returner as well. So he's kind of the head of the snake of this Illinois team. And they're deep. They got talent. They got size. They got shooting. Matthew Myers, another Big 12 transfer from Baylor, who's a great scorer. Coleman Hawkins is a returner, but a 6'10 mobile big. I'm worried about this matchup for Missouri because of the size and the athleticism that Illinois brings. That's something that Kansas really exploited, and that's something that this Illinois team can really exploit as well. That Missouri is going to have to find a way to match.
Yeah, and I mean, I just hate to say, just take a quick page out of KU's book, but it's going to be interesting to see, with that size, will they trap the post? Will they, what type of schemes will, Coach Gates run? But it's an opportunity, Yeah, Illinois is they're flooded with talent as well too. And you know what, with Coach Gates and what he wants to do with this program, like, they want to get in the NCAA tournament and they want to make noise. And how you start building your resume is when you start competing and play against, games like this. So, whether you're outmatched from the big standpoint, again, what are you going to do to counter that from the guard standpoint? And I really like Missouri's guards. And again, with Hodge and Honor, definitely, getting into their games late in the season, or to the late regular season, mid or early conference season. It's going to be fun to see where they can get.
You look at Missouri too. They're still a team that can score the ball. I think the 3-point shooting against UCF, and again, going back off of, I know that Illinois, when they look at Missouri, they're going to look at Kobe Brown can beat you. Isaiah Mosley can beat you. Know where Aiden Shaw is. We just touched on the rotations and all that stuff. But, this Illinois team is older. They have experience. They have a couple of talented freshmen. They have shooting. The reason why I say that is it's very, very similar to the Kansas team. Now the thing about Illinois, they do have a true big in Dane Danja, who is a force. He played really well for freshmen. Because Coleman Hawkins is more of a space 5. Like, he's not a back to the basket 5. He's a very talented passer at 6'10". So Missouri's defense has got to be good. My thing, Jeff, you brought up a great point about what to learn from Kansas. I'd like to see Missouri defensively. If you want to put pressure and try to force some turnovers early, I get it. You want to make it ugly early, I get it. But you're going to have to adjust a little quicker if you need to go zone. If you're getting beat off of athleticism and shot making and transition defense, settle into the half court. Try to adjust the game a little bit. Missouri showed a lot of 1-3-1 in the UCF. That's another thing they haven't really shown a lot of at all. So again, you talk about just things they're doing differently. Yeah. I commend Dennis Gates, because he's going to have to be creative on defense, because he just doesn't have the bodies and he doesn't have the size. And really, there's only a couple guys that you could say are elite level athletes that can match some of the athleticism like a team like Illinois has.
Yeah, again, that's going to be very interesting to see. I think that's one of the key parts of this game is, what are you going to do to counter defensively? And like you said, the 1-3-1 will work. Like, what are you going to do differently to throw out and run and jump? I mean, there's so many different things that you can do to get them uncomfortable. But again, I think too, you want to make them work for a shot. Make them work for a shot. Make them have to use a majority of the shot clock before. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do. And I think this is going to be another good test, another good test. I think that's the cool thing about Coach Gates and where he's at right here. Each game is almost going to be a different little test for him, and a good chance for the program to grow from it. This is just another test as they, get ready as they get geared up for conference play.
Absolutely. And that's the thing too. I mean, Kansas was at that first game that everybody had circled up. This is where we're really going to find out a lot about Missouri.
Yeah.
It did not go well. Now they bounced back against UCF and win a tough game. They found a way to win. That's a great sign. And to your point, I think it does absolutely hit on the fact that I'll take that. I'll take that level of toughness to come back and just taking it on the chin and to bounce back and adjust and, battle through some mistakes you make in the second half of the game. Now it gets real because Illinois is ranked 16th in the country. I still think that when it's all said and done, I still think they're a top 15 team for sure. Then they get Kentucky at home to start league play on the 28th. And then they start the new year at Arkansas on January 4th.
Yeah.
So there are 3 huge games for Missouri. And if you look up and think, man, if Missouri could win one of these games, 2 of these games, those are huge, huge quality wins when you're talking about a team that's only lost 1 game, and that was to Kansas. They got to put together some quality wins if you want to look up in late February, early March and have a chance, right? If that's really, that's your goal, these opportunities, to your point, these are what you want.
Great resume.
These are you don't want any more of this, the padding wins games. You want to play legit competition. And you want that challenge, and you want to see how you respond against an Illinois and a Kentucky and an Arkansas after you did not play well in front of your home crowd against Kansas. So it's a great opportunity, some fun games ahead, and I love again, the Braggin Rights game is such a blast to be a part of. I can't wait to see what it's like in St. Louis. I'm
gonna be tuned in. Are you gonna be there?
I'm not going to be there. No, okay. I wish I could be. I won't be there, unfortunately. But I unfortunately will be in North Carolina on Thursday. But man, I'm going to be tuning in.
I'll be tuned in for that one.
It's going to be on the phone. I'm going to be watching. So it'll be a lot of fun. Jeff, get another nap, man. You rest up. I know you've been trying to catch up, but a Merry Christmas to you, your family, and all our listeners too. Hope everybody has a happy holiday.
Happy holidays, everybody.